Alright, welcome to Command & Conquer Rivals Top 5, Episode 6. Let's get started on this. I do have the camera disabled for this one. I look like I haven't bathed in a while. My hair's bad. I've been lazy playing Fallout 76. Anyway, favorites, there we are. So we're going to start with Base Exchange. The Goat Birch, really good guy, beat me several times. Beaten him a few, but he's just got rank over me, really. I think our units are pretty close. We might have a little unit advantage. Speed this one up to ×2. So we both have a very similar start. I push my rifleman more toward him, though, initially, and then pull back. Again, both going for a war factory. Very practically identical start buggies. He does get his buggy in position and damage my guys a little bit faster than I do his. He goes after my harvester, and I manage to take out his attack bikes. And again, very, very similar starts. But here's where we start to switch up. I'm taking out his rocket squads. Well, my rocket squads are fighting his other guys, so I guess... There we go. Now, yeah, here's the main change. So I get the first missile. He's going for air. Trying to go after my harvesters for a second time. I'm using my rockets to take the shots from the air. Pitbull takes him out. He's going after my base. And I notice that he's going after my base. So I take this little low-level Pitbull, hoping to get him away by using the harvester. Take out his guys at the bottom. I'm trying to think here. Neutralize points. Maybe going after him. And... at some point, we're just neutralizing this missile a lot. And that missile right there, he got it because he had 1 point. And I was like, you know what, screw it, I'm going to get fire at his base. That way I could get some damage done. And then I've got a lot of money, so I'm like, I'm going to send some more guys over to finish his base off a little faster. And he decides to go after my base, so we're both going after each other's bases simultaneously. But I do manage to take his out first. So, base exchange. He's going after mine, I'm going after his. Alrighty. Next is have a plan. So this person's got me on levels massively. They should have won this one. But I managed to do it because I had a plan. And it worked. So I went for a rush. Because on this map, the Tiberium's in such a spot. Rushing a vehicle over there can be a huge advantage. And I built a vehicle that can take on an attack bike or a rush like him. Now, he actually manages to get out a higher level tank, so I'm actually in trouble at this point. And he's got that second unit, but I've got a little bit of money. So I'm trying to, kind of retreat. I'm getting pinned off anyway. Build some rocket squads. He's going for more APCs. My rocket squads are not much of a match for his... not APCs, or for his buggies. However, I can't build tanks because his tanks are higher level. I need to keep him away from building those level 10 tanks. Level 9 buggies are a lot easier to deal with than multiple level 10 tanks. But like for that 40 points, now I'm dealing with those multiple buggies and 20 from rocket squads, so 60 points, and I'm going to take out 3 buggies that were 30 points each, so... and use the remaining rocket squads to continue pushing on his tank. And again, while hopefully the rocket squads are fighting the tank, I hope to hit with the Pitbull, but he manages to cut me off and take out my Pitbull. And I actually pump out a harvester because I've pushed him all the way back. I'm like, I just need a little bit more money and then I can pump out another rocket squad. Which I do. And again, I'm just kind of blocking him off, keeping him away from my harvester as best possible. Replacing my rocket squads. Because he doesn't have a harvester. So, I mean, I could turn my money advantage into pushing him back with tanks and other things. Which, here comes my first tank. Still got multiple rocket squads trying to deal with his tank. I'm just trying to keep him away from my harvester so he doesn't get that money advantage. And he has to build one of his own. which will cost him. And I'm noticing also at this point, we've spent a lot of time fighting, and nobody's been going after the points. So I'm starting to think, okay, I need to get something eventually on those points. And I don't mind holding off his rocket squads in the Tiberium with my tank, because I have a huge money advantage, and as long as I stay in there, his rocket squads are taking Tiberium damage. Now, I do eventually swap it out, as long as I can keep him away from my Harvester, for the Rhino. And some of what I was doing was just making sure he didn't even have a Harvester yet, or wasn't even going for the Tiberium. I thought I would for the platforms a little sooner than this, but apparently I did not. Also, as the game goes on, at this point we've played so long, Tiberium is now at its maximum increase. After 2.5 minutes, it sort of caps out to how much you're getting per second. Oh yeah, and I have a army plan to use the snipers and the rocket squads as a combo. Use the snipers behind the rocket squads to take out his infantry. I'm using it in this case, however, behind the Harvester. And then I do believe I use them also behind the rocks eventually. My tank, I'm just sitting there because there's nothing for it to attack. I should have pushed it a little closer to his base to do some damage to it. But yeah, because he's doing all this air, and rocket squads and pit bulls are the units that I'm thinking I want to be building. There it goes. My first rocket. First rocket of the game. I mean, that took a long time to get that out. Get my people off of the points. I'm just focusing on killing his stuff. Put both my pit bulls together to double their damage. And then they have to split up, sadly, here. But now I'm building my heavy anti-air unit to take out anything that's got in the air. And then some more rocket squads in case he builds tanks. But at this point I noticed, oh crap, he's going rocket heavy. So I need anti-infantry big time. Snipers would be a huge plus. I'm trying to throw myself back on the points because the rocket's at about half. Oh no, I didn't do sniper. I did a Rhino. There's the sniper. Anyway, so sniper's taking out the rocket squads from behind the rock with the air unit kind of keeping it blocked off, and he goes after my snipers. Air unit takes them out. APC takes out the guy in the middle. Still got a little rocket guy there too. Another, not APC, sorry, Rhino took out the guy in the middle. And he finally got out his Harvester, but that was not a good plan. Because for him to build a Harvester when he needs a unit on the field like ASAP. If he had built another air unit or two and sitting them at both those bases, if they didn't die at the right time, he actually would have got that next missile and the game would have continued. So it's important to have a plan. Don't just, run wildly out there. I mean, your plan is going to not necessarily survive contact with the enemy. It usually doesn't. And you have to be able to adjust your plan on the fly, have maybe multiple combos and things you can use for different situations and scenarios. But you should still have an opener plan, a mid-game plan, a late-game plan, the ability to swap back and forth between two basic playstyles, something. And he obviously did not have that. Anyway, don't overtech. This guy is using... He only has like 2 tech units, but then he's got I do mean APC this time, the APC, which is an expensive unit. And even his tanks aren't really that cheap, but they're still decent. I mean, really, his biggest advantage is the level advantage he has with his riflemen and his rocket squads. And after that, he just gets into a lot of expensive stuff. It is versatile stuff, but he's never going to use all that. I mean, I'd have to completely leave his harvesters alone for it to happen. And if the game's short, none of this stuff is useful to him. But yeah, he goes for a scout first. And that's another thing. He's got a money-heavy deck, and he threw out a scout first, hurting his money, and a rocket squad, and a second rocket squad. He is going for a harvester push with those rocket squads. which does not work out in his favor because I've just built two simple riflemen. Focused on the rockets first, turned his riflemen, and the third one I had the bottom managed to do so much damage. And I get the first missile, and that's practically game at this point. But because now he's stuck just being able to build rocket squads and riflemen, the next cheapest thing he can build is a tank. And he even skips the tank initially to go for an APC to try to deal with my infantry. I mean, other than riflemen, he's got to wait till he's got full 40 for a war factor, and then 80, that's 120 points. I am recording. And then I just body block. See, none of those expensive tech units did he even get to use in that situation. Alright. Next is neglecting pads. And that's all that this guy did wrong this one, was he neglected the pads. Or I did. I forget who. It's been a bit. Speed this up. Go ×4 for a bit. Rifleman start. Harvester starts. Getting some very similar stuff. He has definitely got me on level, though, because his guys are 11. And I left my rifleman there. I'm slowing this back down a little bit. For a bit, because if I had moved forward, his rifleman would have killed me. Trying to save my harvester. He still manages to get the other attack bikes in there, take it out. And he completely neglected the pads until the last second. He got on 2 of them, but I still have the third. And so even though he's winning, I've got the first missile. I mean, he's winning unit-wise. He's winning money-wise. He's got me on levels. He could easily push me back and wipe me out. He could have gotten that first missile with very little effort. And now he's going for flame tanks, killing my guys. And again, not really caring too much. He's just focused on the. Now he does do good up top at that point, but then he decides to go after my base. That right there's his mistake. He's fighting my base, and didn't even. If he had moved those flame troopers up and to the left, taken out my rocket squads or made them run away and had that, he would have had that missile because the other 2 were neutralized instead of essentially just giving it to me. He completely neglected the pad, went for the base, and I lost the game. And earlier, he neglected the pad while going for harvesters. So, you can't neglect the pads. It's really sad, because, I mean, look, he's got 11s and 10s, 1, 9, and, which is my highest is 9. So he's got 1 or 2 levels over my guys. So in that situation, I had 8. I had 3 8s. Fighting, 11, 10, 10, 10, 10, 9. I've got 3 9s. My hero's an 8. So, yeah, he had 2 levels over me most of the time. Anyway, so this one I call defense against, hey, look, it's Chuck Norris again. Chuck Norris kicked my butt one of those times. Or was that someone else? I don't know. He's got me on level, and he's going for a harvester rush. He's going to build the rhino first, take care of my infantry, and then the pit bull, right there, to go after my actual harvester. Which is a good combo. I've used it myself quite often. Build some rocket squads, try to deal with the guys. Not much I could do there. Try to build another one, got to pull my harvester out. So now I'm not even making money with it. I built some more infantry to keep him from coming around the other way. Blocked him off from going back down. Put some more rockets to replace those if they die. So, I mean, I'm keeping him away and doing what I can. Got to run my harvester away a second time, though. Because he's... Normally I would have done a lot better, but 8 rocket squads trying to fight off 10 level APCs, it's not exactly going in my favor. I am saving up on money, but I'm not making as much as I should, and he's managed to get the first missile. Really annoying. Not much I could have done there. I just didn't have the money. I was spending all my money trying to get those rocket squads. Finally, I get out of Pitbull, try to fight off the APCs. He does manage to, with the APCs, and should never get my harvester, but not before I've got enough to get out a tank and start just trashing everything he's got. So that one Pitbull took out 2 APCs. That tank took out 2 units. He's got some tanks of his own, but still doing back to the rocket squads. My harvester's back. And I've still got a rifleman on the left, neutralizing the points as much as I can using the rocket squads. And I managed to get a missile just in time. Avoid his... Was that his ion cannon or was it mine? I guess it was my ion cannon. I avoided it and then came back. But now I've got tanks pushing because he's still putting in to the APCs and pit bulls. This is a little silly. I got rocket squads and tanks. And jet troopers. He's building APCs and pit bulls. He's got nothing to actually deal with my tanks. And the rocket squads will only be soft countered by the rhinos. I mean, honestly, I would have walloped him so bad had he not had such levels on me. Because he didn't build the proper units on that one. And that should be it. Yep. For our top 5. Hope you guys enjoyed.